Welcome to part 2 of the GoToWebinar Organizer Training, Hosting a Webinar. In this tutorial, we will cover starting a scheduled webinar, in-session features, and webinar reporting. To start your scheduled GoToWebinar session, log in from GoToWebinar.com. Once you're logged in and viewing the My Webinar section, select the drop-down at right and start your scheduled webinar. This launches the program into the subconference. The subconference is where all the staff, consisting of just organizers and panelists, may speak to each other without the audience hearing. Use this valuable time to organize last-minute logistics. This is the time before the organizer has clicked Start Broadcast, which will allow the attendees to hear them also. As opposed to the organizer, the attendee has a viewer window on the left and a control panel on the right. The organizer simply has a control panel on the right and is viewing their own screen. When ready, click on Start Broadcast to get the webinar started. Let's take a look at the GoToWebinar control panel. The File drop-down lets you edit your information and gives you access to your preferences, which allows you to modify a variety of settings. Clicking on Settings here also takes you to your Preferences menu. The Options drop-down allows you to permit or deny several items to your attendees. The View drop-down lets you customize your control panel based on what you choose. The Help drop-down links to online help resources, lets you test your audio, and has a link to report any audio issues. The Globe drop-down allows you to change the default language of your control panel. If this recording subpanel is not showing, check the recording button under the View drop-down to activate this. The location of where your recordings are saved is also accessed in the Preferences menu under Recordings. You are able to browse for the location of where you would like your recordings to be saved. Here, organizers and attendees are able to undock their control panel by clicking on the Undock button. Next to this, they can click on the X to leave or end the webinar. Once your settings are configured and your staff is ready, click Show Screen. If you plan on recording your webinar, click the Start Recording button after pressing Start Broadcast in a quick 1-2 succession so that you can record your entire webinar. Please note that if Auto Record is activated on your account, your recording will start automatically when you start the broadcast. Once you start recording, the recording button will turn red, and you can start and stop your recording as much as you would like. The buttons at the top resemble a video player. Press the play button to show your screen. Click this button again to pause screen sharing. Press the stop button to stop screen sharing and put all attendees in the waiting room. You can choose Give Keyboard and Mouse to a panelist in your webinar, and you can choose to give screen sharing rights to your panelist by clicking on Change Presenter. You can also click on the Screen drop-down to show different monitors or opt to show a specific program by itself. When you choose to show a screen clean, this hides all desktop icons and open programs. If you choose to show a specific program, this will hide all other open applications. To expand or collapse any of the panes on the control panel, click on the arrow sign to open or close any pane. If you have a built-in webcam or have a webcam attached, you'll be able to turn it on or off at will. If you're notified that no webcam is attached, either plug one in or proceed without one. Next is the audio pane. This will allow organizers or attendees the ability to switch back and forth between telephone or computer audio, confirm their mic and speakers are working, and will allow the switching of attached audio devices. At top, click on Sound Check to change, refine, and confirm your audio setup. Click here to adjust beeps and chimes when attendees are waiting, arrive, or depart the webinar. Finally, this section will show you who is speaking during the webinar. The dashboard displays a timer showing how long the webinar has been going and shows a visual display of the planned webinar time. It shows how many attendees are present and lists how attentive the audience is. Anyone who does not have the GoToWebinar viewer window in front on their desktop will be shown as inattentive. It lists if there are questions waiting to be answered and shows the organizer if any hands are raised. Finally, the dashboard pane shows you how many polls have already been given. Beneath the dashboard is the attendee list. All attendees enter the webinar muted. You can unmute them by clicking on the icon to the left of their name. If they join via mic and speakers, you will see an icon of a green microphone. If they join via telephone, you will see an icon of a green telephone. By right-clicking on a participant's name, you can promote them to the role of presenter or organizer. Once someone has been promoted to the role of staff, there is no way to demote them back to an attendee role. Also, by right-clicking on the name of an attendee, you can dismiss them from the webinar altogether. To launch a poll question, select the poll you would like from the drop-down and click Launch. When the poll is in progress, you will see the answers arrive in real time. After enough people have responded, close the poll by clicking the Close button. You can even add a poll while the session is running. Go to Manage Polls and create a new poll. Fill out the fields and click Save. The poll that you just created is now in the drop-down menu. The Questions tab shows you any existing questions from attendees. The organizer can answer questions verbally, can respond to the person asking the question only, or show the question and answer to the entire webinar group. Questions can also be sent to any panelist to answer. This is a common practice so that the organizer is not constantly stopping to answer questions. This tab will display any handouts that were originally added to the webinar when it was set up. As you can see, organizers can drag and drop new handouts into this pane during the webinar session. The chat pane lets you send a message to anyone in the webinar. Type your message and choose whether you would like to send it to the entire audience, just the staff, meaning organizers and panelists, or to a specific attendee. The Grab tab offers shortcuts to you when your control panel is hidden. You may expand or collapse the control panel with the orange arrow at the top of the Grab tab. You can mute or unmute by clicking on the audio icon. You can show your webcam if desired. You can start or stop screen sharing by clicking on the monitor icon. You can give keyboard and mouse control or change presenter just as you would in a normal control panel. A unique aspect of the Grab tab are the drawing tools. Click on the drawing tools and you can select from a variety of drawing options. You can also change the pen color and erase all drawings. Click this button or press the Escape button to go back to normal non-drawing mode. As mentioned, to end your webinar, click the X in the top right corner and End Webinar for All. Once your webinar is complete, log into your GoToWebinar account and click on Analytics. Here you will see a list of your past webinars. You can view basic information below, or click here on Generate Report to choose from a variety of reporting options. Now you're ready to host another event with GoToWebinar. Thank you for watching part 2 of this organizer training, hosting a webinar. If you need more information on scheduling a webinar, please view our tutorial titled Organizer Training Part 1 Scheduling. Best of luck with all your GoToWebinar events.